Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Tonight, the city of San Diego is beginning a series of public forums to find out what San Diegans want in their next chief of police. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The current chief, David Nislight, is stepping down in June. And KPBS reporter John Carroll is live at Mission Trails Regional Park, where the first of 9 forums is being held in just about an hour. John?
That's right, Maya. That forum will take place here in the Visitor Center of Mission Trails Regional Park, which is in District 7, which is the district of Councilmember Raul Campillo. Meetings are planned for all 9 districts in the city. Chief Nislight was appointed
The 2 boxes in 3.
back in 2018. The search will be nationwide, although there will most likely be candidates from within San Diego PD as well. Earlier today, I spoke with community activist Tasha Williamson, who has been a longtime critic of the department. I asked her what she'd like to see in the next chief.
I think we want a chief who is going to represent transparency, equity, and justice, not just in our community, but inside their own department.
Williamson says whoever is hired needs to come from outside of San Diego PD in order to make the changes she says are needed. Now again, this first of 9 forums gets underway here at 6 tonight. Members of the community are also being asked to fill out an online survey. It asks San Diegans to rate the most important characteristics and the qualities that they're looking for, as well as issues that should be prioritized. You can find that survey in this story, which can be found on our website at kpbs.org. Live at Mission Trails Regional Park, John Carroll, KPBS News.
Great, thanks, John. But now, after tonight, can you tell us when is the next public forum being held?
Not too long. It will be held on Thursday night at Mary Star of the Sea Church in La Jolla. That's located at 7725 Girard Avenue. And like this one, it also gets underway at 6 p.m. Maya?
Thanks for that report, John. After 2 North County water districts voted to leave the San Diego County Water Authority last year, some residents are now starting to see cheaper water rates. But KPBS North County reporter Alexander Wynn tells us other residents will have to wait a bit longer to see those savings.
Starting January, Fallbrook residential customers will see a 5% rate drop in their water bills.
I think bottom line, that's huge, not just for me, but for the entire community.
It's the result of a water divorce. The Fallbrook Public Utility District has fully detached from the San Diego County Water Authority. It is now buying water from Riverside's Eastern Municipal Water District. Leela Hargrove is the CEO of the Fallbrook Chamber of Commerce.
To be able to save 5% in water is a big deal. Sometimes that 5% equals, food on the table or, help to pay with rent.
She says cheaper water will also help the agriculture industry in the area. But agricultural customers' savings will depend on their water usage and meter size. The Fallbrook and Rainbow Water Districts both started the detachment process 4 years ago, promising customers cheaper water. Jack Beebe is the general manager of the Fallbrook Public Utility District. He says it was a long and difficult process.
For us, it's, the key coming out of this was really to be able to do something to lower and then stabilize rates going forward.
For a while, it looked like the water divorce would be messy and drawn out. The Water Authority filed a lawsuit in August to challenge the detachment. But that lawsuit was settled in late December. In a statement, Water Authority Chair Melcat says the settlement, quote, makes the best of a bad situation. and that both agencies are required to pay all costs in addition to its entire exit fee upfront, meaning there will be no immediate rate impacts for ratepayers. While Fallbrook customers will be able to see immediate savings, Rainbow customers will have to wait. That's because it will take Rainbow a bit longer to fully detach from the Water Authority. Jake Wiley is the general manager of Rainbow Municipal Water District. He says there are a few infrastructure issues to iron out first.
We have several connections, some which lie in the north end of our service area, some which lie in the south. And the ones in the north are currently controlled by the County Water Authority. So again, we've got to transfer those facilities to Rainbow.
He expects that to be completed by this fall. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
Now we are talking about more wind on the way over the mountainous terrain as we work our way into midweek, and some chilly conditions here. In fact, we could see some frosty windshields as we wake up here Tuesday morning for some. I'll talk about that as the wet and the wintry weather mainly stay off toward the north. I'll talk about temperatures and if we could also see any changes as we work our way down the road later on this week, coming up in just a bit.
If you're flying this week, expect cancellations and delays. Boeing grounded all 737 MAX 9 planes after a door plug detached during an Alaska Airlines flight. And according to FlightAware.com, United and Alaska Airlines canceled 39 flights at San Diego International Airport today. Laura Aguirre has more on what's next for the FAA investigation.
More accounts of those terrifying moments are coming to light.
I knew it was not just normal turbulence because the masks came down.
Initially, when the piece flew off, there was almost multiple explosions.
That piece, a refrigerator-sized fuselage door plug from Alaska Air 1282, was found Sunday in a Portland, Oregon yard, with more evidence turning up elsewhere.
Went to go for a walk today and found a phone belonging to an Alaska Airlines passenger sitting on the ground.
One of two phones the NTSB says have been found and turned in. But as new evidence emerges, critical pieces of the puzzle have been lost.
We're disappointed that the cockpit voice recorder was overwritten.
Crucial details on the recorder were erased automatically by new audio every 2 hours. The NTSB wants the FAA to extend that window.
From 2 hours to 25 hours, because we want to hear communications, noise, alerts on the flight deck, which may help us prevent future tragedies.
For now, the FAA has grounded more than 170 Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes worldwide as inspections and this investigation move forward.
Our focus right now is on this aircraft to determine what happened.
I'm Laura Aguirre for KPBS News.
A growing number of churches in San Diego are exploring how to build affordable housing on their land. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says the Yes in God's Backyard movement expects to complete their first project this year.
The grading has already been completed. We have started the concrete pour.
Pastor Harvey Vaughn is walking me through the construction site of Bethel 1, a 26-unit affordable housing complex that's under construction in Logan Heights. Vaughn is the senior pastor at Bethel AME San Diego.
Our congregation is the oldest African-American congregation in San Diego. It's 136 years old.
About 5 years ago, Vaughn was approached by a new organization called Yes in God's Backyard, or YIGBY. It was looking for churches and other faith communities interested in helping out with San Diego's homelessness and affordable housing crisis. Many churches have underutilized land, and helping the needy is part of their mission.
I think we should be applying the gospel, which is the good news of Jesus Christ, to the situation. When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was naked, did you clothe me? When I was homeless, did you house me? I really believe that churches have a tremendous responsibility to not just our congregation, but to the community in which our churches are located.
The one-bedroom apartments here will be set aside for low-income seniors and veterans. The project is unconventional, not just because it's being built by a church. It's also financed entirely with private dollars. Evan Gerber is the project's consultant.
So government tax credits and public programs are a great tool to build affordable housing. The challenge with it is you really need to build a lot of units to make it make sense. There's also a lot of soft costs and additional fees that go into using public subsidy.
Avoiding those additional costs resulted in big savings. Each apartment is costing less than half of what a typical publicly subsidized apartment would cost. Pastor Vaughn hopes this project will inspire more San Diego philanthropists to join with faith communities to build more housing.
And I think that once the individuals that have committed financially and they see how this comes up, they know the demographic that we're serving, I think that they will be very excited to invest in another development similar to this, and perhaps larger.
Bethel 1 is expected to be move-in ready by the end of this year. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
San Diego Unified School District is leaning green as one of 67 recipients of a federal grant to help buy electric school buses. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is granting the applicants nearly $1 billion through its Clean School Bus program. California will get $88 million split between 4 school districts. San Diego Unified is expected to purchase 30 electric buses. The program is also intended to strengthen the economy by investing in American manufacturing and workforce. Construction workers unions made big gains in the South Bay last year. KPBS reporter Corey Suzuki says the shift came during a year of labor victories nationwide.
Some called it the year of the union. In 2023, more than 500,000 workers went on strike across the country. Airline pilots, auto workers, nurses, and delivery drivers all won stronger contracts. In the South Bay, it was construction workers who made some of the most significant gains. National City and Chula Vista both passed new laws supporting project labor agreements, deals that will require more union workers on big construction projects that get public funding. Workers in the South Bay join unions at some of the highest rates in the county, according to organizers.
Good evening.
Ricardo Sanchez represents the local carpenters union and spoke to the National City Council in November.
It's just having a better job, wages, and benefits for anybody, that they deserve everything. Everybody deserves to live good and to be able to retire with dignity, and at the end of the day, enjoy their retirement.
Under these new agreements, workers will have a better shot at those retirement plans, with union health benefits and retirement pay.
It's a physically rigorous industry, and it's very demanding on a person's body. And so by the time you're in your late 50s, a lot of folks are struggling to keep up. And so of being able to maintain a healthy workforce.
Item carries with 4 yes votes and Mayor McCann voting no.
The new laws faced some opposition in Chula Vista. Mayor John McCann voted against the city's ordinance. He worried it could make it harder to build affordable housing.
We are in a housing crisis, and we need to make sure that we're decreasing as much as possible to make sure that people can realistically live in the city of Chula Vista.
Chula Vista is still negotiating the final terms of its agreement with the county's construction unions. Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
The idea of a 4-day work week is spreading across the country. Coming up, how a police department is reducing employee hours, but not pay. Managing finances can be especially challenging for retirees or people who plan to retire soon. Ivan Rodriguez breaks down the changes to Social Security payments and Medicare this year.
U.S. inflation continued to decline in 2023, and the financial picture for Americans, including retirees, is improving. For that reason, monthly Social Security payments will only rise by 3.2% this year, based on the cost of living adjustment. AARP Senior Vice President Bill Sweeney says the boost is a bit disappointing in contrast to 2022's 8.7% increase, a 40-year high.
This is probably not enough for them to be able to feel comfortable and confident about their savings.
Another concern, standard premiums for Medicare Part B are back on the rise. The portion of Medicare that covers doctor visits and other outpatient treatment is up 6%. On the bright side, people who haven't retired yet can now sock more money away. People 50 and over can contribute up to $30,500 to a 401k or another type of deferred compensation plan this year.
That's a little bit extra money that you can put away in your retirement, which is a great way to save and get caught up before you retire.
Finally, 4 decades after Congress voted to slowly raise the full retirement age from 65 to 67, the goal close to being achieved, reaching 66 in 8 months in the final half of 2024. While you can begin collecting Social Security before age 67, your payments will be permanently reduced. On the other hand, waiting until 70 earns you a bonus.
We really urge people to think about when is the right age to start claiming Social Security to maximize how much money you can get.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
California's ban on flavored cigarettes will remain in place. The Supreme Court declined to hear a challenge to the ban without comment today. Tobacco companies and retailers argue that the state ban conflicts with federal law called the Tobacco Control Act, and that gives the FDA authority to regulate the sale of cigarettes, but stops short of allowing states to ban certain products outright. California's Attorney General says the federal law does not preempt restrictions or bans on the sale of flavored tobacco products. Meanwhile, a state law that would ban people from carrying concealed weapons in public places has been blocked. A federal appeals court issued the ruling over the weekend saying it violates the Second Amendment. Governor Newsom, who signed the legislation last year, blasted the court's decision, saying it puts Californians' lives on the line. The appeals court says it will now take up the issue in April. Abortion rights will no doubt be a key topic on the 2024 campaign trail. The Biden campaign believes highlighting their stance on the issue will be critical to mobilizing voters in November. Julia Benbrook takes a closer look.
Vice President Kamala Harris is launching what the Biden administration calls a reproductive freedoms tour.
Women can trust us to protect their fundamental freedoms.
The tour starts in Wisconsin, a general election battleground state, on January 22nd, which is the 51st anniversary of the Roe v. Wade ruling that guaranteed a federal constitutional right to an abortion. Last year, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and made abortion care a state's issue with the Dobbs ruling.
We know that public opinion is shifting, particularly post-Dobbs.
Jessica Waters, a professor at American University whose research focuses on reproductive rights law and policy, emphasized that abortion care is a topic that's motivating voters to go to the polls.
What we are seeing is that voters who lean Democrat are more likely to say than they ever have been that this is the issue I will vote on. So I think that Vice President Harris's strategy, and to particularly visit some of the swing states to get out the vote on this issue is incredibly effective.
While many states have banned or severely restricted abortion access since Roe v. Wade was overturned, several states have voted to protect abortion rights or block abortion restrictions.
In the states where it's actually been on the ballot, we see a victory every single time.
A CNN poll conducted in November found that more voters are in alignment with the Democratic Party than the Republican Party when it comes to reproductive rights. A Biden campaign official tells our team that the topic of abortion rights will be the central pillar of the campaign moving forward. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
A special election will be held to determine who will replace former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Governor Newsom made the announcement today. The primary is set for March 19th, and the special election will take place May 21st. McCarthy represented California's 20th congressional district. He formally stepped down on December 31st. With a cold front rolling into our region, the San Diego Housing Commission activated the city's inclement weather shelter program for the unhoused population. Several locations will be open today as temperatures drop below 45 degrees. Those locations include the Joan Kroc Center, the Paul Mirabile Center, Living Water Church of the Nazarene, and San Diego Rescue Mission. The Housing Commission calls the program a critical resource.
I think until we have a place for, all of our unhoused to stay, this is a critical intervention. Just to give you some recent data, we've activated 5 times this month and have already had 462 folks utilize the bed. So the data shows that the need is there.
Father Joe's Villages has 2 centers open that can house up to 134 people, with some of them being families or single women.
Let's work our way into the overnight under a mainly clear sky. Hey, I was talking about that chilly air, right? It's coming. We're dropping down into the upper 30s, but many spots here will go way below that. In fact, look at this toward Oceanside, 31, Ramona down to 29. Yeah, some of those spots here, you could see a little bit of ice on the windshields here. Might be doing a little scraping first thing Tuesday morning. Meanwhile, out east, the Mount Laguna dropping into the 20s. No surprise there, but a cool one in Borrego Springs. Wow, down into the 30s. So indeed, with temperatures like this, no surprise that we do have lots of frost advisories out, especially toward the interior valleys. And then even as we work our way out east of some of the mountainous terrain. All right, with that said, like I said, most of the moisture staying well north with our current system. We will see some cloudiness spread its way down, perhaps as far south as Point Conception, but not a whole lot of activity in terms of even cloudiness here nearby. So as we work our way through tomorrow, more times than not, you'll see the sun shining, temperatures staying down somewhat. Not cold, but down a little bit below the historical averages as we're in the low 60s around Ramona, Oceanside 64, Borrego Springs at 62. So here's our front. There's the precipitation off toward the north. But I want to talk about the core of the cold. This does stay off to our north and the east, but it's still going to be chilly. Again, even as we get into our area, as we work our way throughout the next couple of days. Let's break it down here. Yeah, the numbers stay down in the 60s. It's going to be a dry stretch coming up here as we look our way out toward the coast, as well as some of the interior valleys. Coolest day perhaps on Tuesday, only at 60 degrees. Much of the day here spent in the 50s. The winds will be picking up, as I mentioned, over the mountainous terrain. There's your cold day on Thursday. And even as we look at the deserts, we're going to be talking about some cooler air making its move in later on this week. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Justin Povick.
The Old Point Loma Lighthouse at Cabrillo National Monument is now closed for restoration work. The project includes painting and minor repairs to the masonry walls. The National Park Service's historic preservation crew will carry out the work, which they say is crucial to protecting the building's structural integrity. The lighthouse, built in 1855, is expected to be closed through January 18th. Cabrillo National Monument will remain open. A police department in Colorado is trying a 4-day work week. Employees are on the clock for just 32 hours a week, but they still get paid for 40. As Erica Hill reports, it's an effort to promote better work-life balance and give workers more flexibility.
Sometimes it's hard to adjust to a new schedule, but this was actually really easy to adjust to.
Until July, Sergeant Stephanie Sipes worked 4 10-hour days every week.
9 Victor 4 area check.
Now it's 4 8-hour days. 32 hours of work, but she's still paid for a full 40.
I just get to be the best version of myself every single day. And part of that is that I'm filling my cup at home.
It's not just Sergeant Sipes. Every employee at the Golden, Colorado Police Department is also working fewer hours.
All right, let me get you transferred. Hold on just one moment.
Those compressed work weeks are part of a 6-month pilot for the department, which, if it goes well, could expand to all city employees.
I know a lot of people out there were rooting for us, like, don't mess this up for us, you guys.
They have such a diversity of types of jobs. So they've got folks that are out in the field that are covering 24/7, 365. They've got office personnel, they've got sworn people. And so it was a good, I'll say, microcosm of the city as a whole.
Was there any resistance initially?
Yeah, and we really talked through that to explain that we're not expecting people to work less. We're asking them to work fewer hours, but we're asking them to get the same or more done.
To achieve that goal, overlap between shifts has been reduced. Meetings are shorter and more focused, but staffing levels haven't changed. While squeezing everything into just 4 days felt daunting at first, crime scene investigator Latara Durand quickly found her stride.
Professionally, I feel like I'm driven more. Personally, I've got 4 kids and a husband and 2 dogs. Now I'm able to go to my kids' recitals. I've got cheerleaders. It's benefited me all the way around.
The idea of a better work-life balance prompted Officer Madison Goss to join the department last month.
I think more people will catch on eventually and not get burnt out by coming here.
let's work less, let's enjoy life.
Each week during the pilot, employees are asked how they're feeling about the reduced hours on a scale of 0 to 100. 3 months in, those numbers have consistently been in the 90s.
Why is that such an important metric in this pilot?
It goes back to some of the concerns that we had when we sort of first launched this, that they're feeling so much pressure on a day-to-day basis trying to get everything done in a compressed schedule, that they're not getting the benefit that we're looking for, which is, again, happier, healthier, better balanced life, all of those things.
Happier employees, but what about the community? Serving the city of more than 20,000 is still the department's top priority. So far, those findings are also encouraging, including a boost in call response times.
We just did a 3-month check-in with the community, and there was essentially no negative feedback, no concerns.
Productivity, efficiency, basically up. Overtime is down, which helps with your budgeting. Were you surprised at all by some of the initial data?
Yeah, I've been very surprised, and it's been remarkably effective from the beginning. We're really optimistic with the initial data.
What made you want to be the guinea pig for the entire country?
Yeah, we've seen it work in the data, in the research, in other areas, in other industries, and so why not us? Why not try it?
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, federal authorities investigate the Boeing jet that lost its door plug during an Alaska Airlines flight. That's at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
And here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. On NPR's Morning Edition, the Education Department made a big mistake with this year's FAFSA, one that could cost students financial aid that they are entitled to. And KPBS Midday Edition is discussing San Diego County's new inequality initiative, how it hopes to address disparities. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.